Best ever listeners, welcome to the best real estate investing advice ever show. I'm Joe Fairless. This is the world's longest running daily real estate investing podcast. We only talk about the best advice ever. We don't get into any fluff. We've spoken to Barbara Corcoran from Shark Tank, Robert Kiyosaki, the author Rich Dad Poor Dad, a whole bunch of others. With us today, Mauricio Umansky. How you doing, Mauricio?
Great, Joe. Thank you for having me on the show today.
Yeah, my pleasure. Nice to have you on the show. And a little bit about Mauricio. He is the founder and CEO of The Agency, which is a high-profile luxury real estate brokerage. He's based in Los Angeles, California, and he since 2011 has grown the company from its 4 founding partners to over 150 active agents and controls approximately 17% of Los Angeles's market share and is number 1 in the city for a per agent production. With that being said, Mauricio, you want to give the best ever listeners a little bit more about your background and your current focus?
Well, I've been selling real estate now for 20 years. We founded the agency 5.5 years ago and launched it. It's one of the most exciting things I've ever done. I'm originally from Mexico City. I moved to Los Angeles when I was 7 years old and did all my studies in LA and grew up in LA and just absolutely love real estate.
So you launched the agency, how many years ago? You said 5?
5.5 years ago now, almost 6 years, coming up on 6 in September.
Okay. And so were you an employee of a previous agency before you launched your own?
I was an agent at another agency called Hilton and Highland. Before we launched our own, as agents, we're not employees. We're all 1099 agents, so
Okay.
1099 employees. But yeah.
Got it. So 5.5 years ago, you launched the agency, and clearly have achieved a lot of success within your market. What first, when you were at your previous company, what inspired you to start your own?
Well, quite honestly, I reached a level of success as a salesperson and an agent. I submitted my numbers to the Wall Street Journal Real Trends, and they came back and they told me that I was number 7 in the country and number 1 in the city. And when I realized I only had 6 more spots to go, I thought that my what I was doing to get to number 7 was teachable, was repeatable. And then I said, well, my God, if I only have 6 more spots to go to be number 1, I really want to do something bigger and better and show others what I'm doing. And thus we started, the agency.
So teachable and repeatable. I love that. And I know the best ever listeners' ears perked up when you said that. So what do you teach so that your team can then replicate the results that you were achieving?
Well, one of the most beautiful things about our techniques and our tactics in terms of what we teach is that it's all simple stuff. I think that there's a lot of salespeople that get in their own way. They get, they get in the way of the deal. Their fear gets in the way of the deal, and they're just afraid to complete a deal. They sometimes want to, they want to act like heroes, and rather than allowing the deal to happen, a lot of people are just afraid to even just pick up the phone and and call and ask their best friend for business, or if they have anything. So I think our stuff is really just more about simplicity, going back to simple things in life. And when you go back to simplicity, it's easy to get those things accomplished. And then obviously, then we use a tremendous amount of technology, lead generation technology, CRM systems. That's a fully integrated CRM system for the entire company that allows you for great follow-up and everything. But at the end of the day, a salesperson, an agent, just needs to go back to the simple things. Wake up, show up, make the calls, ask for the business, and not be afraid and not get in their own way.
So as far as the simplicity goes, I mean, let's say someone is waking up, making the calls, asking for the business. Is there anything deeper than that that would separate someone who is having success from someone who does not have success as a real estate agent?
Absolutely. I mean, obviously, from there you need to go into the tremendous knowledge of the market and the marketplace. I mean, we teach our agents, to just be the most knowledgeable possible. In today's world, with the internet and with everything that's going on, clients are becoming a lot more knowledgeable. And so therefore we just have to be way ahead of the client and, even more knowledgeable than them. We cannot just, agents cannot get away with just, bullshitting their way through life.
As far as knowing the market, the marketplace better than the clients, can you give an example of that, or how to actually make sure that they do know the market better than the clients?
Well, one time I remember I took up a client, and he was to a property up in the Bird Streets, which is an area in Los Angeles. It's a very expensive area. It's the West Hollywood Hills, great views. Typically we're selling homes there now today in the 22,000 to 3,000 a foot range. And this client was a tech guy from San Francisco. Really knowledgeable about everything, and he liked the house, and he started inquiring with me in terms of the price per foot and what other stuff has sold for. And then I said, well, the house across the street sold, and I said, $1,800 a foot, and then the house up the street sold for $1,900 a foot. And then he started challenging me. He goes, well, it actually didn't sell for that much. It actually sold for $1,733 a foot, and the other one sold for $1,682 a foot. And it was one of the times where I got caught, not having all my details exact.
Yep.
And I just remember, the next time I met with him and I showed him another property, I was extraordinarily up to date on my knowledge, and we went through the same, argument back and forth, and I had all my details to perfection. And he appreciated that, and that ultimately ended up leading into a sale.
Mm. Based on your experience for starting your own company and brokerage, for an investor, or a listener rather, who is a real estate agent and wants to follow suit and start their own brokerage in a different market, what is your best advice ever for that person?
Well, I think that it all comes down to people. You got to hire great people to help manage, to manage your company. Don't be cheap on hiring, your staff. Hire people that are really, really smart, and then listen to them. I think one of the biggest mistakes managers make and owners make is that they hire people, but then they only want them to do what they want, to be done, rather than allowing your staff and your agents and everybody to have opinions. One of the things that we preach at the agency is that if you're not making mistakes, you're not trying hard enough. So we're totally cool with mistakes. We're totally cool. They happen every single day. We want to try new things. I want to hear great things. I had one of my our chief marketing officer about 3 years ago, who I think is an absolute brilliant guy, came up to me one day and he said to me, well, what you want me to tell you and what you want to hear is blah, 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 blah. And I said to him, I said, if you ever tell me again what you think I want to hear, you're fired. I said, the reason you're here is because I think you're brilliant, and I want to know what you want to tell me, and I want to know what's coming out of your head, and then I'll make a decision which way we go. Okay. But don't try to pretend that, you know what I want to hear. And I think that that's just a constant, mistake that a lot of owners and managers make. They get too into their own stuff and they don't listen to others.
As far as hiring people who are really smart, I, I imagine you're a bit removed from that now, but at the beginning you weren't. How did you screen or qualify your initial hires to find the people who are the best of the best and who are really smart?
Well, number one is, we have our it's become kind of a famous thing, but we have our number one rule at the agency, which is, no assholes. So first step is just making sure we don't hire any of those. Number two is, I want people that can, think on their 2 feet, that can react. So a lot of times I'll come up with different scenarios, and I'll just ask somebody, what they would do in a scenario. So for example, a salesperson, I want to know that they can act quickly. So, I'll say, hey, you've taken out your girlfriend, you guys are going out for dinner. You went for a movie, you're on the first date, and you're arriving at the restaurant, it's 9:59, and you arrive at the hostess stand, and the hostess says, you ask to get seated, and the hostess says, oh, the kitchen closes at 10 o'clock. What do you do? and agents, salespeople will tell me, well, I guess I got to go find another restaurant. And, the agent I want is the one that answers, well, I still have a minute left till 10 o'clock. Sit me down and I'll order fast. you know. So, it's just come up with different scenarios for different people in terms of understanding, the personality for different jobs. And I just want to see how they react to those different scenarios.
I like that. All right, real quick, you ready for the best ever lightning round?
Let's do it.
Best ever book you've read.
Oh my God, I just forgot the name of the book. I had it 2 seconds ago. Delivering Happiness by Tony Hsieh.
What's the best ever deal you've done, either as an investor or as a real estate broker, etc.?
I have two favorite deals. Number one was selling the Playboy Mansion. Absolutely fantastic. First deal to hit $100 million in Los Angeles. Number two is an investment I made in Malibu on a property that I just sold for $70 million.
How'd you get the listing of the Playboy Mansion?
I received the listing of the Playboy Mansion by coming up with an amazing listing presentation and a full marketing plan, and all of my ads already done when I went in for the presentation. So I didn't leave anything to chance. I already had the whole marketing campaign laid out as if I already had the listing.
What's a mistake you've made on a transaction?
My God, I make mistakes all day long. I think that it's not a question of what mistakes you make. It's a question of mistakes lead to different opportunities and how you resolve mistakes.
And what is the best ever way you like to give back?
We give back two different ways. On a personal note, I give back really to the Children's Hospital of Los Angeles. I spent the first 6 years of my life in Children's Hospital, and thanks to them, I got cured. And the second thing that we do as a company is we have 100% participation in Give Back Homes. We build homes for the needy, and we love it.
And where can the best ever listeners learn more about your company?
Go to theagencyre.com, and we post everything out there. Look at our videos, read our blogs, and have some fun.
Excellent. Well, Mauricio, thank you for being on the show. Thanks for talking through your company's evolution and how you approach hiring great people to manage your company. Your number one rule, and then your number two rule of you want people who can react, and how you test that during the interview process with the scenarios. And then also, towards the end of our conversation, when you talked about how you sold the Playboy Mansion at a record price, and how you got the listing in the first place, where you came prepared and assumed as though you were already hired and had the entire marketing plan done. So thanks for being on the show. Hope you have a best ever day, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you for your time, and look forward to talking to you again.